This is Veterans News, a production of the United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Eric Spinner, and I'll be your host for this month's program. I want to thank Erica Bradley of North Shore TV for the use of her studio facilities here in Lake Success, and Mike Peters for his technical support and for providing training for the crew. Welcome and hello to our viewers in both Nassau and Suffolk counties. I would like to thank Sabrina Lacey, a former commander of and current chaplain for the Suffolk County VFW, for being our co-host. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Our guest today is Sid Mandelbaum, commander of the Lawrence Cedarhurst American Legion Post and founder of Rock and Wrap It Up. He serves our local veterans and his local community. We'll talk to our guest in just a few minutes. But first, I want to thank our crew, without whom the show would not happen. On camera 1, General Bob Guarnieri. On camera 3, Mike Felix. Producer is Ed Allman. Graphics director, Bev Aldman. Assistant director, Loretta DeBrino. Assistant director in training, Mike Ferraro. Assistant Director, Gene Schroer, and Bob Lane, who is not here today, our always reliable director. Now let us remember a few veterans whom we recently lost. Brendan Burke from Bayport was a U.S. Marine who served with the 1st Marine Division during the Vietnam War. He later became a TV executive with ABC. Joseph Termini of Locust Valley was a lieutenant in the Army responsible for the delivery of classified information within the Pentagon in 1958. Richard Lonigro was a U.S. Navy veteran who served on the USS Tanner. He turned a sporting goods company in Port Jefferson into a multi-million-dollar business. I got to learn more about that. Robert Mosman, originally from Massapequa Park, served in the Intelligence Division of the United States Army before he attended St. John's University. Bill Keefe of East Meadow served in the U.S. Navy during the Korean War and became a New York City firefighter, wow, that's a long one, and a member of Local 580 Ironworkers Union. Leo Marcotte was a proud Air Force veteran. This 90-year-old was an educator in the Massapequa School District. Philip Halpin was a Navy corpsman who later became the commander of the Hempstead American Legion. We recently lost Ken Cadu, past Nassau County Legion commander, UVO and LINCMO president, and judge advocate, and a comrade who worked tirelessly for his fellow veterans and the community. On a positive note, we congratulate Jack Hain, who just celebrated his 100th birthday. He was a past post commander of Jewish War Veterans Post 655 in Plainview and a West Point graduate. If you know a veteran who died recently and you would like their name mentioned here, please send an email to mardiv1@optimum.net. You see that on the table in front of the flags. Now it's time for our guest. Welcome, Sid Mandelbaum. It's great to see you here, and it's great to have you as a guest.
Thanks so much for having us.
Okay, you've met Sabrina, obviously.
Yes.
You were chatting before. It's now time for our viewers to get to know you. Sid, I know you're the commander of the Legion Post in Lawrence Cedarhurst. What branch of the service did you serve in, and what years?
I served in the United States Air Force from 1969 to 1975. I enlisted in Floyd Bennett Field with the 35th Medical Service Squadron.
Wow, medical service, wow.
What made you enlist during that period? You weren't drafted, right?
No, I enlisted because I had dropped out of college, and I felt that I wanted to give back to this country. Both my parents are Holocaust survivors, and I wanted to give back to the country that really saved their lives. I wouldn't be here had it not been for the United States military and the Russian military.
Yeah, I've heard that thread before. It's definitely a calling And of course, you and I share the same faith, and I understand it very well. It's something which unfortunately is being forgotten in today's society.
I have one of my fans that I acquired during this show. She's a Holocaust survivor. I want to say hello to her. And she educated me on a lot of stuff. I think she's like 85 years old now. When I first heard of her, she called me and I spoke to her. She was very passionate about me being here. So I just wanted to say to your family, we're happy that you came and you settled here with us.
Thank you.
And we welcome you here.
Thank you so much.
Sid, did you go any place special when you were in the military?
I did. I started out at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, where I finished my basic training. And then I was bused to Shepherd Air Force Base, which was in Wichita Falls, Texas. I had my training there.
All very familiar. I know I was at Fort Sill, which was a stone's throw from Shepherd. Any combat?
No, but I did do quite a lot of suturing and a lot of medical work at the hospitals that I had worked in and the flight lines that we worked.
No pun, but I guess you kept them in stitches.
And you also said that you were with a VA hospital, right?
Yes, St. Albans VA Hospital.
And what year around was that?
I was there 71 to 73.
It's changed since then, haven't it?
I'm not going to comment on the place. It does a great job taking care of our veterans today.
Right. Only thing I say about the VA hospitals, we're just happy that, I know once upon a time, I was in the reserves. We used to go there as reservists, and we do support there. And they took us out of there. And I know the decline of staff that they have made our lives a little bit difficult. But we're just happy that they're there, because if they weren't there, we still wouldn't have anything.
Absolutely.
The only thing we can do, like men like you, and heroic men like you, and myself, and a show like this, because of Ed Norman, we could tell the VA, stop it, get our stuff back up to snuff so we could take care of veterans that's here and the ones that's serving overseas right now. That's why we're here, and that's why we have the American Legion. And are you a post commander at the American Legion?
I am. I've been commander now this is my 8th year, because I cannot get a replacement. I would give it up in a heartbeat, but we have recruited, I'm going to throw it out there, Mary Plaza, who was U.S. Marine, is going to become commander July 1st, 2025.
So that's
Yeah.
good. But I'm quite sure you're going to give her support while she do her
She
tenure.
is, as I had gotten so much support from people before me, I will have her, as I stood on people's shoulders, she'll stand on our shoulders cumulatively.
How long have you been in the American Legion?
For 18 years.
Oh, thank you for your service to the community now.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you've been in a little longer than me. I've been about 14 years, and I'm also moving up next year in July. I'm slated to become the commander of the Williston Post. So I'm going to give my present commander a little bit of relief. He's been doing it for several years, too. Yeah, that seems to be a major problem, getting people to step up and getting new blood in who are willing to do things.
Absolutely.
Well, I have faith that the viewers out there will notify the veterans, the kids that are home now from the military, and let them know, we need you to come join the American Legions and the Veterans of Foreign War and all the veteran organizations. 3 things you can get if you join the organization. You get wisdom, right? Because we have served and we have worked in different capacities. Where have you worked civilian in terms of your term?
I started out as a high school teacher. I taught earth science at Canarsie High School, Lincoln High School, and Oceanside High School. And then I left teaching to work as a scientist doing high-end DNA genetics and cancer research for about 40 years.
And where was that?
That was in a company called Baxter Travenol, one of the bigger medical companies, and a company called Johnson & Johnson.
All right. And you hear he's talking. There's a lot of history behind all that. I have thousands of questions I want to ask in terms of that, and I'm quite sure we don't have time for that. However, that is one of the reasons why you should come and join one of our organizations. If you're interested in doing communications, that's what I'm doing here, right? You could do communications. If you're interested in doing biomedical or anything in that medical profession, I'm quite sure he could guide you in that direction.
Absolutely.
Right? You have a lot of history in that.
Yeah, our Legion groups, all of our groups, we have a wide range of activities. We have a great, broad, wide range of abilities, of knowledge, of past experiences, and we share them all. And we all come together as a group. We're actually like a little village, just within ourselves. And, they say it takes a village. Well, we want you in our village.
Exactly.
We want to make that village bigger.
Exactly. There's no excuses because I know that in Suffolk County we have almost 30 VFWs, and I know we have American Legions, and we all cross over because I'm VFW, American Legion, AMVETS, all right? There's different characters of posts. I'm quite sure your posts have a major thing that they focus on, right? My post right now, we focus on doing ministry directly to the people in their homes because they cannot come out. So we do the elderly, the World War II veterans, we'll go out to their houses and we'll sit there and we give them whatever kind of assistance that they may need. Your post, the American Legions in Lawrence and
Cedarhurst.
all right. What do you would say your focus is, your main mission?
For the last 4 years, we have been setting up veteran farmers markets and working closely with a charity that I work with called Rock and Wrap It Up. We've been able to get relationships with all of the food large purveyors in Long Island, specifically Trader Joe's, Costco, Wald's Bake Shop, Chipotle, all give Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays food so our veterans do not have to go into stores. And this started actually because there was fear that a lot of our senior vets were at risk for getting COVID. And this way, having an outdoor market was a salvation for them and could, in many ways, give them both the safety of not being in a store, but more importantly, the camaraderie of coming out 3 days a week. And we set up pretty much a outdoor Mickey Mouse Club where we have chairs. Somebody brings coffee. Somebody brings possibly some Jack Daniels. They could be bringing some pastries, cakes. We have women and men that prepare items for us, and we all sit around and experience the humanity of our commonality, which we're being veterans.
And do you talk or text? Because, right, now you could sit down and you could communicate and come out.
We do not
And
text.
The older veterans, like myself, I'm over 40, we tend to like to communicate in person. The younger veterans seem they want to use social media. But when you come to the post, I'm quite sure in Lawrence they have social media there that they could communicate. Do you have like any type of Super Bowl games going on at your post or anybody?
Well, what we have had in the past, and this I'm going to give credit to Michelle Shorenstein, who works with Rock and Wrap It Up, and Jim Spellos. We set up 8 years ago the Andy Parisi Veterans Toolkit. And what this is, it is a space online that you, as let's say the parent of a veteran, a Blue Star parent, can go and see jobs that are vet-friendly for your child that might be leaving the service, colleges that are vet-friendly, services for men and women that are needed, and all of this is in one location on our website, the Andy Parisi Veteran Toolkit. Andy Parisi was a liberator, a book involved. He was also the mayor of Cedarhurst and was active in our post when I first joined the post. And it is so important for there to be parental involvement because so many people that are serving, once they get out, they want to do nothing for 2, 3, 4 months. And here we give the family the opportunity of finding a way of steering the veteran to a place that they would be comfortable with. And the Veterans Toolkit, because it's updated every week, we know what the jobs are that are out there, what the franchises are that veterans could purchase. All of the colleges locally that give veteran services. And all that is in one location at rockandrapidup.org, the Andy Priest Veterans Toolkit.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
When I came back, I was picked up by the VFW, and they navigated me to get into St. Joseph College. And I didn't even know that I had the opportunity to get into that particular college. And then I was told by one of the veterans that, oh no, we'll walk you through. And they walked me through the whole process. So these organizations have those opportunities for you if you reach out to them. So if there's some place or something that you want to do, reach out to one of the organizations and we can transmit that for you. A question I have for you in your service, right? When you were serving during your time and you came out, where did you go? What did you do?
Well, I went back to college. I had felt that I was ready to go to college. I was not ready when I graduated high school in 1968. And I pretty much wasted a year going to college when I really wasn't ready for it. But when I came out of the service, I felt that not only was I more grounded, but I was able to focus differently because of the experience that you get being in the Air Force. The Air Force is a branch which is very involved in education. And you have schools that you go to, and preparing for the medic school that I went to at Shepherd Air Force Base, that got me able to see what I was lacking. And being in the service the way I was blessed to have that experience, and it changed my whole life, as I'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, it's amazing because I'm seeing so many parallels with my own background, because I also went to college, dropped out after a term, went into industry, went into the military, finally came out, and while I was in the military, my whole mindset changed.
And where is your American Legion?
I am now at the Williston Post.
Okay, you're into Williston Post.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started out in Elmont, I'm now in Williston, and of course became active with county, et cetera, but this is not about me today.
Okay. Sid.
So we're gonna get back to Sid.
I want to know about the music aspect of what you do.
Well, some of the things that have come out, and I'll go back to Rock and Wrap It Up as a charity that has been around since 1991. It's our 34th year. We are an anti-poverty think tank where we develop ways to get assets to faith-based organizations. Almost all of what we do is through churches. And one of the things that has made it easy for us to start the Veteran Farmers Market was that we already had relationships with Costco and with Trader Joe's. And what Rock and Wrap It Up is, and what it started out as, it was a means to have food that was generated from backstage catering of bands that could not be taken with the band to different cities that they played. And I was inspired to have this idea that if you put into the band's contract a stipulation that says all edible leftover food prepared but not served cannot be thrown away, must feed the hungry, and Rock and Wrap It Up would facilitate the recovery. And once that's in the rider of the band, it follows them into the cities that they play in. I have to give a lot of credit to a couple of people. First to Sandy Chapin. Sandy Chapin, the widow of Harry Chapin. I was asked by her to serve on the board of a Long Island organization called Long Island Cares, which I served on from 1988 to 1997. At the time, I was active in an organization called the Kiwanis Club of the Five Towns, and we had already started supporting a food pantry in the Rockaways called the Claddagh Inn. And the Claddagh Inn was in need of food. And Sandy Chapin was a keynote speaker for me. I'll digress a little bit. I I was appointed to the Nassau County Commission on Human Rights in 1985. And one of the things that we did was we came up with a way of teaching high school juniors to fight racism and fight prejudice. And we did it at Hofstra University. One day, it was in May every year, we would have a fabulous keynote speaker, and then students would be taught techniques on how to combat bigotry and prejudice. And what they were basically taught was to have the gumption to say to someone that may have made a racist comment to them, that makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's a simple technique, but even if it's a close friend of yours or a relative, or God forbid, a parent, if you say to them, that makes me feel uncomfortable, you have put up a speed bump so that they will think before they say that again. And if you're in a group of people, sometimes it's very hard when you have a group of friends and someone uses a bad word to step to the plate, so to speak. We taught them that it's more important to have this moral fiber, this strength to make that. And the people that we had in no particular order, Melba Tolliver, who was the first black broadcaster. We had, we should have had Billy Joel, but he could not make it, so Sandy Chapin became our first speaker, the widow of Harry Chapin, the founder of Long Island Cares. After Sandy spoke, she asked me if I would sit on her board, and I was already active in this pantry, and I said yes because I wanted to learn both vertical and horizontal methodology of how to fight poverty and how to fight hunger. The reality was a lot of this goes back to my background as a child of survivors. My parents were brought up in abject poverty and in murder. My entire family was murdered, other than a couple of uncles, in June 8th, 1942. Over 200 Mandelbaums and Barbers were murdered that day at Auschwitz. And they all went, they were middle-class people, like people you'd meet on the street today. The only thing was they were born Jewish. And the Nazis could care less if you were 1/50th Jewish or you were Jew, they would kill you. Very similar to Hamas today.
Yes.
And I will make the parallel for a couple of reasons. Hamas is right now going into a place that if you are not a Muslim, you will be killed if you are a Jew or a Christian.
Sid, I could reconcile with you. I grew up in Brooklyn, and of course I'm Black American. I consider myself Black American. But when I lived in Brooklyn, the Jews and the Blacks got along extremely well. I learned a lot about Hasidic Jews, all right, because I went to school, like I told you, in FDR High School. And I learned a lot about Italians. And I learned through diversity, the best way to combat any kind of diversity is to be good in your own skin and have your own identity within yourself, besides your color and your ideology, and be able to listen and learn from other groups. And that's what I hope is transmitted. The question I have for you is, how did you combat during work through all that?
Well, that's interesting because I left teaching when the city of New York was laying off teachers, 1975, 76. And because I was a veteran, I was hired by Baxter Travenol. They had a program that were hiring veterans. They were out of Chicago. And I was able to work as a detail man, where they taught me how to sell a drug called Synthroid, which was a thyroid hormone. And
I know it well.
I already was a scientist, so I already had a master's in science, which I got from teaching. But the reality was, both my parents were vocal about their Holocaust experiences. And they came to America in 1950 after spending 5 years in a displaced persons camp. They were not allowed to come to America until their number was up. And they were allowed to come because they were sponsored by both of their brothers, mom's brother and dad's brother. And the brothers had to sign a paper that my parents would accept no aid from any agency in America. And they had to sign that paper or else they couldn't come to the United States. And my two uncles said they would support their brother and sister, and that was how they were here. But when they came here, they moved to the ghetto, Brownsville, where I was brought up, and then they were able to move to Canarsie, where it was actually cheaper to live in Canarsie than it was in Brownsville. That's why they moved. But some years later, my father wanted to go to the first gathering of Jewish Holocaust survivors. It was in, it was called the World Gathering of Holocaust Survivors. It was held in Jerusalem in June of 1981. And because of that moment that he and I went to this meeting, both of us had something happen at the Western Wall. We had an enlightenment, an epiphany between the two of us. And for 5 minutes, we didn't even speak. And then all of a sudden, my father said, "Did you feel that?" I said, "That completely." And I said, "I feel like I have to go back to America and change the world." And from that moment on, June of 1981, that is what I do 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Right. Do you, with the organization that you affiliate, I'm trying to pinpoint, where is it located and what is your direct group of people that you are targeting?
So
and how many people do you serve?
Well, it's already in its 34th year. We have fed over 1 billion people, and we are all over the United States. Your viewers would know our larger partners. The New York Yankees give us all of their food after every game.
The question I ask is your particular project that you're working on.
That's the project, Rock and Wrap It Up. We are all over the United States. I have over 5,000
people. Do you have one right here in New York?
Oh, sure. We have.
Which one are you?
We have hundreds of people that volunteer for Rock and Wrap It Up.
Right. Where particular are these people located?
So.
Give us an example of one.
United Methodist Church of White Plains. All the food from Yankee Stadium goes there. The Baptist Church in Hempstead, all the food from the Islanders goes there. Food from the New York Giants, New York Jets goes to the food bank in Hackensack. Okay. The people that we have, Reverend Sharon Cundy has 2 United Methodist churches in Brooklyn. All the food from Madison Square Garden, the Knicks and Rangers, goes to her.
Right.
And all that goes to us.
The reason why I'm asking is because, there, like you said, there's a lot of people that are utilizing less food now because they need money to pay the electric bill or gas bill. So usually myself, when I was coming through, I would go to the churches, and the churches would always have food. Now, being that you have these other people that's donating, and I know Long Island Cares from Long Island.
I hear the closing tunes. Well, we're at the end of the program. Would our crew please come out back on stage? If you're watching the show on Cablevision, tune in next week, same time, same station. You can also watch us on YouTube. Just go to Veterans News UVO. I'm Eric Spinner. It's been my pleasure to bring you this month's program. Hope to see you next month. And remember to contact us at mawdiv1@optimum.net if you want to be on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sid.